Honestly, I'd be very happy to come back in time and schlep past myself a few times. I was so confident, I looked at the logic, the systems, and I thought, that's grand, I'll figure the rest out on the way, but I didn't account for the thing that breaks everything, the sheer crushing weight of trying to be an entire development studio in one human body. Hello there, it's Kurdzuk from Kurdzuk Studio here. This episode will be different from my usual content. Normally I dive into the specifics of Norma, assets, terminal, fixes or works, but today I decided to share the experience behind, specifically what it takes to dive into the potential chaos of being a solo indie dev. There will be a few episodes in this series, so if you're interested in the reality behind the pixels, please hit that subscribe button to stay tuned. I believe the best way to start will be to firstly very quickly explain what I am, or better to say what I was, in terms of my professional life right before I decided to give this project a go. By the time I started the project, I already spent years in IT in various roles, from testing to development and infrastructural work, so I already knew how software was made and how it works. Though, spoiler, it wasn't all 100% applicable to what I was going to dive into. So let's say I was quite ready, as I thought, to undertake the project, and truth speaking, I was, from a technical IT point of view. The problem was that, as you can imagine, such a project also requires visuals, audio and story components at least to be somewhere full. And I'm not even talking about all these marketing affairs, which are quite important in the system we live in, simply to be able to promote the project. It happened that before I started the Norma project, I attempted to work with two different people on two different projects, not simultaneously, and honestly, it didn't go well. And don't get me wrong, there weren't some real issues, it just didn't go through. You know, one of these situations where you feel lonely even while working with someone, and while you care about the project, life unfortunately can make few adjustments. Well, or maybe I was just a big pushy pain in the back, who knows. But it just didn't work out in our case, so it was a slow and peculiar experience. Though nevertheless, I personally got two important bits out. I put my hands into some tools which I'm still using and mastering further, and I created some code suitable for 2D games while working on the second project, which actually was repurposed for Norma later on, when I started to work on it. Though, to be honest, little left from the original code base, as it was refactored, improved, some things were redone or removed, and so on and so forth. Regardless of the fact that those two projects didn't go through, I like to look at the time spent on them as an experience from which I was able to learn. In the end of the day, it was an experience, the only thing is, can you learn from it or not? So, when I finally decided to work alone, I already had some experience and some code base to start with. And I remember it, I'm sitting in front of my computer, looking at the screen, ready to plan everything, when it just hits me. Man, you'll have to create everything yourself. And by everything I mean everything. You'll have to be a pixel artist, a composer, a storyteller. And sure, don't forget about marketing. And by the way, that's a really funny part about realization. At least for me, you know something's coming. You know what is it. You know that it will be on you, but the actual realization comes a bit later. And when it comes, you start to understand how much work you'll have to do to build what you plan to create. By the way, another thing which I had to mention, the reason why I wanted to work with someone was because I wanted that someone to undertake one of the areas like visuals or storytelling, or in case of the first project which I attempted, the system logic, as we were mimicking a particular system which the person knew. Anyway, back to the realization part. It all came to me as a solo dev. Which visual style to choose, which audio to use, which story to tell. And at that stage you start to realize what it takes to be a solo indie dev, and also your path forks. Either you do it yourself, which means steep learning curves for a lot of things and even more time spent on a project, or you mobilize the funds and undertake just part of the project while leaving the rest to freelancers or things available on the market. Obviously, in the later case, it all comes to funds availability. Hence, in my particular case, I undertook the first path because of a few reasons. First and foremost, funds availability, which I didn't have to spend on this project. Secondly, I genuinely wanted to learn new skills, though I'll be honest here, I didn't expect that it would suck me up that much that I will be doing everything myself. So far it's just some sound effects which I got off the market and which are planned to be replaced later. But there is a third reason, personally for me. You see, the idea of the game was sitting in my head for quite a while, so the picture of the game was already in front of me, and even if I would have funds at the time, I don't think I will resort to hiring a team. Why? Because I have a specific vision for Norma, because this is my first project, because I want to learn, because I want to be a solo dev with all the pain which comes with this path, because Norma is the game I wish existed, and I'm the one to build it. Is it lonely? Well, yes, sometimes, but seeing the world inside my head appear on the screen is the thing that keeps me going. And I truly believe that the solo indie path is a path of art, and artists doesn't outsource their brushes. So, it takes a lot of energy, willingness, or even maybe stubbornness to start off as a solo indie dev. One has to be prepared that regardless of all the planning, something might go different and life might introduce some correction into it. But the solid lesson which I got so far is, and it's kind of a joint lesson, never surrender, push yourself and stick to your project. Over the past several years, I saw so many posts of indie devs saying that they jump from project to project, some have several unfinished ones. My personal suggestion, better not. I know that it can be appealing to start fresh with a good, nice idea, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how many times one starts fresh if one doesn't finish any of the projects started. But again, that's my vision so far based on my experience. Please share your thoughts in the comment section below on what you think about the solo indie dev path if you experienced it already. It will be really interesting to see what you think about it, and I believe it will be very helpful for those who are about to embark on their own journey. That's it for now. In the next episode, I'll talk more about selecting visuals for Norma, what I was choosing between, and why I landed where I landed. I'd really appreciate it if you'll hit that thumbs up and subscribe button. That really helps to spread the word about this game. I hope you enjoyed this episode and this new format. Have a very good day, night, or whichever time of the day it is for you now, and see you in the next one. Bye bye.